subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to never miss any update.
Hello everyone. So here I am to present lesson 1.1 for SSC CGL Tier 2 paper discussion. I will be discussing here 30th November 2016 Quantitative Ability paper, and in this particular lesson I will be covering question ID 301 to 310. In total there will be 10 questions and it will be presented by me. This is the first question on your screen, and the question says each member of a club contributes as much rupees and as much paise is the number of members of the club. If the total contribution is rupees 2525, then the number of members of the club is. So clearly it is mentioning that each member is contributing as much rupees and as much paise as the number of members. So it is very much clear that the numerical value, I'm not talking about anything else, just numerical value of rupee and paise will be equal. They are written in this combined form. Everything is written in rupees. So you can clearly break it up in this way: 2500 rupees plus 2500 paise. I'm just converting this 2525 into 2500 rupees and 2500 paise, right? Now clearly this particular value, this magnitude of 2500 will be nothing but a square of, it's saying each member is contributing equal number of rupee as many members. So if you assume number of members to be x, each will be contributing x rupees and x paise only. So therefore x square will be 2500, and without any confusion you can easily mark that x here is going to be 50. It's so easy, nothing else, right? Now question number 2, it was indeed a very good question, but very easy one. Let's read it out. The numerator of a fraction is multiple of two numbers. One of the number is greater than the other by 2. The greater number is smaller than the denominator by 4. If the denominator 7 plus c is a constant, then the minimum value of the fraction is. Now in this particular question, right, this is something which is not at all to be written in this question. 7 plus c is not a constant, right? C itself is a variable because c is more than minus 7, right? So the question should be this much only, that if the denominator is 7 plus c, where c is more than minus 7, then you have to find the minimum value of the fraction, right? So let us work it out and write that particular fraction. So the fraction will be written like this, that 7 plus c will be the denominator here, and in the numerator it is given that one of the number is greater than other by 2, while the greater number is smaller than the denominator by 4. So greater number, 4 less than denominator, I can clearly write it to be c plus 3, and here the smaller number will be clearly c plus 1. And now we have to find out simply that if this is the expression or the fraction given to us, so what will be minimum value of this fraction? Now let us do it very smartly without consuming too much time. One thing is certain, that c is more than minus 7, so I will just quickly analyze this thing, that if c is more than minus 7, then you can clearly see that 7 plus c is going to be positive. C is more than minus 7 means it will be either minus 6 point something or like that. So it is going to be always positive. Now if I look at the options very clearly, there are two positive options and two negative options. So therefore first I would like to identify if the minimum value will be positive or it will be negative, because if we just identify the nature of the sign of the minimum value, we can easily reject two options. Our task will become much easier then, right? So I'm just trying to do something so that I can identify if the minimum value is going to be positive or negative. Now you can clearly see here that 7 plus c is positive, right? So this is a positive value always for c more than minus 7. Now if we look at these two values, c plus 1 into c plus 3, we have to just find out that this product or this numerator will ever be negative for c more than minus 7, because if for any value of c more than minus 7 this numerator is negative, that means what? Definitely this entire expression is taking negative value. Definitely the minimum value will be negative then, right? If we are getting any negative value of this fraction, right, so definitely minimum value will be negative. So let us work that out, that is it going to happen for c more than minus 7 or not. This is a quadratic expression. So c plus 1 into c plus 3, And if you just, assume this y is equal to c plus 1 into c plus 3, and I would like you to just plot it, right? Having little bit knowledge of quadratic equation will help you in plotting it. So here you can clearly see at c is equal to minus 1, this will be 0, and at c is equal to minus 3, it will be 0. We call it roots of quadratic equation. If we say c plus 1 into c plus 3 is equal to 0, then minus 1 and minus 3 will be the roots of the equation. Now I would like to just do this, that if this is going to be minus 3 and this is going to be minus 1, and just draw this line, and let's plot y like this. Okay, so this will be an upward parabola. The structure is called as parabola. Anyways, do not get into too much of technicalities. It is clearly will be 0 at minus 3 and then 0 at minus 1. Now this function will take a minimum value. This function will take a minimum value, right? And that minimum value, if you want to identify, you can easily do it. This minimum value you can identify by first, converting it into quadratic equation, and it will be like c square plus 4c plus 3. I have just written the expansion of this product, c square plus 4c plus 3, and if you just write this in this form, c plus 2 whole square, and then you are going to get a value that is going to be minus 1. Now you clearly see, if the value that you are getting of the numerator, this form c plus 2 whole square minus 1, then if you look at it, it will clearly explain one thing very certainly, that this function will definitely take a negative value. Why? Because if you look at this numerator now, it's c plus 2 whole square, right? So if you put c is equal to minus 2 here, this expression will be 0. It will be left with minus 1, right? So if numerator is becoming negative and denominator was positive always for c more than minus 7, I am very much certain that my minimum value will definitely be negative, and therefore I can reject 2 options directly without any problem. Now your task is to identify which of these is right. So out of these 2, we have to find what minimum value this particular expression is going to take, and that's where you have to put little bit more effort. That's it. So you can clearly see from here, even this function cannot take any value less than minus 1. The reason is this square expression can be minimum 0, not less than 0 in any case. It will be 0 or more than 0. So that means what, this entire function's minimum value can be minus 1. So if minimum value can be minus 1, that means the parabola I was trying to plot, this parabola, just to make you explain this in a better way, that means this particular value will be minus 1. Now you can clearly see that this expression, the numerator, is negative in this period. Between c minus 3 and minus 1, this is negative. That means the minimum value of this entire expression will occur between minus 3 and minus 1. Do not call it that it will occur at minus 2. No, denominator is also there, right? So it's not like that when numerator will be minimum, then denominator is going to be minimum. No, it's not like that. Although if you put the value, it will numerically match, but that is not the correct analysis, right? Because c is also in the denominator and c is also in the numerator, right? So it's about the minimum of the fraction that you need to find out. So I'm just telling you the best way to choose the right answer. So you can clearly see then this is minus 3 and this is minus 1. Now in this zone, this value of this entire numerator is negative between minus 3 and minus 1. So we are very certain that our minimum value will be between minus 3 and minus 1. Now where it is going to be minimum, right? I am telling you the other way of getting what is minimum value possible here. You have 2 values, minus 5 and minus 1 by 5. And you know that only one of them we have the correct answer. I will ask you one thing, that let's forget the sign for the moment and just see when I can get this fraction. Can I get the fraction to be 5? Is there any possibility for that? Because if this cannot be possible, this will become the right answer. If this cannot be possible, this will become the right answer. So that's what I'm going to do. Now you can clearly see, if I just focus on the magnitude in this range between minus 3 and minus 1, you can look at the denominator first. Between minus 3 and minus 1, this denominator 7 plus 3 will be between 4 to 6. A positive value that will be between 4 and 6. Right? Put c is equal to minus 3, you are going to get 4. Put c is equal to minus 1, you are going to get 6. It will be between 4 and 6. Denominator. Look at the numerator. Between minus 3 and minus 1, where we are getting negative numerator, where we are going to have some minimum value, this is not having a magnitude more than 1. Magnitude, I'm not talking about the sign right now because I know the sign of the minimum value. That means the numerator cannot take value more than 1 in this zone. So if numerator cannot take any value more than 1 in this zone, that means it will be, in magnitude sense, it will be between 0 and 1. And it is divided by a value which is between 4 and 6. Will you ever get a magnitude of 5? Not at all. It is not even possible. And therefore, the correct answer becomes minus 1 by 5. So essentially, now let me summarize what I have done. First thought process that you should have in this particular question is thinking about what sign minimum value can take, plus or minus. And that's what you can easily identify by identifying the denominator will be always positive for c more than minus 7. Then I'm working on this numerator then. So I'm working on this numerator and I found that this minimum value of the numerator is minus 1. After expanding, then I went here and just tried to analyze. So I found that between minus 3 and minus 1 this is negative. Between minus 3 and minus 1 it is negative. So I will have the minimum value for these values of c somewhere in between. Right? So what I'm trying to do is that then I found that but there is a problem. The problem here is that the numerator magnitude is never more than 1. In terms of it is never more than 1. So therefore it will be something between 0 and 1 divided by 4 to 6 with a negative sign. It can never be having a magnitude of 5 and therefore the answer will be minus 1 by 5. If you have this clear thought process, you can easily solve it without any complexity. Next question. A number when divided by the sum of 555 and 445 gives 2 times their difference is quotient and 30 is the remainder. So first is the divisor is 1000, sum of these two. The difference and double of it is the quotient. So the difference itself is 110, right? And double of it will be quotient, 220, and 30 is the remainder. So what is the number? If you are intelligent enough, right, you need not to do anything. Just common sense will work to mark the answer. 1000 is the divisor, right? 220 is the quotient. So this product only will give you a value that is going to be lakhs, right? It will be in lakhs. 100,000 is 1 lakh. So this value is going to be in lakhs. So only one option was given in terms of lakhs. So that's why first answer is right. I hope it is clear to everyone. Without any problem, you can easily do it. Okay, just common sense will help you out in getting the answer. So you need not to look for this 30 right now because only one value is in lakhs. That has to be correct. That's not a problem. You can easily mark it. Question number 4. When a number x is divided by a divisor, it is seen that the divisor is equal to 4 times the quotient and double of remainder. So that means divisor is double of remainder. So remainder is given as 80. That means divisor directly becomes 160 and the quotient becomes 40. So that's so simple. Now you can multiply, that will give you 6400 plus 80 and 6400 plus 80 is going to be 6480 without any confusion. Even here, right, there was no, if you look at the option, you can do even more quickly because options are far apart. So 160 times 40 itself is going to be in 6400. So why to think about the remainder? Because the number will be 6400 something. I mean the remainder. So you can easily mark it without any problem. Next question number 305. On dividing a certain number by 342, we are going to get 47 is the remainder. So if the same number is divided by 18, then what will be the remainder? Interesting, but very easy. So first thing is that, a number is there. When you divide that number by 47, you are getting, 47 you are getting remainder when you divide by 342. So that particular number will be nothing but multiple of 342 plus 47, right? If you are dividing any number by 342 and you are getting 47 is the remainder, so it will have two parts. That number can be written as multiple of 342 that got completely divided and then 47 was left as a remainder. Now we want to know that what will be remainder when it is divided by 18. The only thing you need to focus here is that if you clearly see this 342, right, this particular number is 18 times 19. Yeah, the thing is that how you can write this quickly, so quickly you can identify. That's so simple, right? Because it was 18, so I was looking that if this number is multiple of 18, that will make my task way easier, right? So I looked at this 18 and then 18 times 20 is 360 and this is 18 less than 360. That means it's not 20 times but 19 times, 18 times 19. What does it mean? That if 342 is a multiple of 18 as well as 19, that means whatever number, the number that is there, if you divide that particular number by 18, this part will again be divisible by 18, right? This will be left as a remainder, but be careful here. Remainder cannot be more than the divisor. Means when you are dividing by 18, you will never prefer to write 47 as the remainder. That means what? Just divide this 47 by 18 and see what is the remainder. That will become the answer. 18 times 2 is 36 and 11 is the answer then. 11 is the remainder. You can mark it. Even this question can be what will be the remainder if you divide it by 19. Right? So even if that is the question, that is not a problem, because if you divide by 19, first part will be divisible, and in that case the answer will be 47 and divided by 19, and then you are going to get the answer to be 9. Right? That's so simple. Clear, everyone? So I think it's very simple if you understand this logic, that how this number will be written. Sum of three numbers is 252. The first number is twice the second, and the third number is 2/3 of the first. Right? So 2/3 of the first means I will prefer to assume the first number to be 3. Then I got that the last number is going to be 2/3, that means 2. And the first number is thrice the second. This number will be 1. That means this first, second and third numbers will be in 3:1:2. So the only thing is that you should choose the right numbers. You assume the right numbers. Then your question is going to be way easier. Problem solving will become way easier, right? Why I assumed this to be 3? Because it was given that the third number is 2/3 of the first number. So better I assume 3, this will become 2. And then the first number is thrice the second number became 1. Now it is also given that the sum of three numbers is given is 252. So this is 3 part, 1 part, 2 part, right? So if you sum everything, 5 and 1, 6 parts, and this 6 part is given to be equal to 252, right? So you have to just find out what is the second number. Second number will correspond to 1 part. So you can just find 1 part. 1 part will be clearly 42. 240 plus 12. So 40 times 2 times 42 is the answer. You can easily mark it without any problem. Alright, let us go further. The sum of squares of three positive integers is 323. If the sum of the squares of two numbers is twice the third, what is their product? Very interesting question. I'm going to assume three numbers now, A, B, C. So the sum of their squares is given to be 323. Now what is being asked? It is also given that sum of the squares of two numbers is twice the third. That means A square plus B square will be equal to 2C. So I can simply write 2C plus C square is equal to 323. Quadratic equation, right? C square plus 2C minus 323 equal to 0. Factorize it, you are going to get 19 times 17 to be equal to 323. And then what? You just factorize, you are going to get C is equal to minus 19 and C is equal to 17. We are talking about positive number, right? So this is the what root we have to carry. So this C becomes 17 now. This particular number is becoming 17 now. So it will be 289. So now A square plus B square will be clearly equal to 34. Now just figure out that what can be the possible values of A and B. Just put some values and check it out. If you put 1 square, it will not work because 31 is not a square. 2 square is 4. 30 is not a square then. You put 3 here, A is equal to 3. You are going to get 9. It will become B square will be 25, which is clearly a square of a number. So I mean I'm getting a number 3. I'm getting another number 5 and I'm getting a number 17. Then what is the product? 3, 5, 17 product is going to be 255. This was a one way of doing this particular question. But definitely, quadratic equation solving, you should never prefer it. What you should prefer in this particular question is that use the options to get the answer very early. So one thing is that the number crunching you can try. You can try the number crunching, right? If you're good in number crunching, even you can find out this pattern directly. But even if you're not so good in number crunching, I'm telling you the way how you can do it. You look at the options. Options given here are product of three numbers, right? And the best part is that every option is just 5 at a difference of 5. So if I just write in the in this form that I write it 5 into something. So it will be 5 into 51 clearly, and since the difference is 5, next number will be 5 into 52, 5 into 53, 5 into 54, right? So that is not a difficulty. You can do it. So I have written it 5 into 51 now. Now I know it is the product of 3 numbers, and 51 even can be broken into product of 2 prime numbers. And that number will be 3 into 17, right? You have 3 numbers now, 3, 5, 17. Check it out if it satisfies the condition or not. You will find that, okay, 3 square plus 5 square, the first condition is that this sum, which is coming to be 3 square plus 5 square, that is 34. It is double of this. Satisfying the second condition. What is the first condition? The sum should be 323, right? 17 square is 289, 9 and 25. Yes, you are getting 323, and therefore you can mark 255 or move further if it doesn't work out. SSC always gives very poor options, right? So you can easily work it out rather than solving quadratic equation. You can easily do it by simple number crunching. 8th question. The sum of 3 numbers is 2. The first number is half times the second number, and the third number is 1/4 times the second number. Obviously, we need to assume second number something. And what that? 4. Because both numbers are given with respect to the second number. So if I assume second number to be 4, you clearly see the first number is half of that, 2, and the second number is, third number is 1/4 of the second number. It will become 1. That means these are the numbers 2, 4, 1. We have to find the second number. That means we have to find the value corresponding to 4. You sum all the parts, 2, 4, 6 and 1, 7. 7 parts are corresponding to how much? 2 here. Sum is given to be 2. So I am summing it. I am saying 7 parts is 2. So what will be 4 part? It will be 8 by 7. Mark 8 by 7 directly and move further. 9th question. 3 numbers are in arithmetic progression whose sum is 30 and the product is 910. 3 numbers, arithmetic progression, sum is 30, product is 910, the greatest number in that AP. I just want to tell you one thing that you all must understand. In any arithmetic progression, the concept is, if you take 3 numbers, the numbers will be like that, A minus D, A plus D, right? The only thing I want to understand here is that the middle number is average of this entire AP. If you have 3 number, or 5 number, or 7 number, or 9 number, the middle term itself is the average, right? So you can clearly see that there are 3 terms. The second number that comes in the middle will be the average, right? You can check it out in any AP. You take 1, 3, 5, right? You take 1, 2, 3, whatever you want. 3 numbers, middle number, 5, third term. So here it is given that the sum of the AP is given to be 30. So if sum of any AP is 30, we know that the average will be equal to 10, and that average is the middle number. So clearly what you can do first, that when sum of the AP is given to be 30, I will write that the middle number will be 10, 30 by 3, average. And if I am writing it 10, I know that the product of the number is 910. Out of that, one number I know is 10. So if one number is 10, the remaining 2 numbers product will be 91. And just work it out in what factor you can break. 91, you can write 91 times 1 or 7 times 13, right? What suits you? 7 times 13. Because it will give you the perfect AB that you are looking for. 7, 3, 10 and 3, 13. So that's why the largest number becomes 13 here without any problem. Again, you can save yourself from making equation and getting the answer. But if you just use this, simple number crunching will help you out in getting the answer without any problem. 10th question. Simplify these terms. Now that's very much easy. You know that this 120, first thing is that you clearly see that do not worry about the sign, right? Because all the numbers are positive. So whatever it is given, negative, kuch nahi sochna hai, nothing to think. Just think about the numbers now. You look at this number 125. Everyone in the universe knows that this cube root will be 5. And then look at the number, right? This number, when you take it out of the cube root, it will be simply 3 by 8. 8 cube is 512. And the only confusion you can have at this number, but that is not a confusion, right? Because you clearly see, 12 cube is 1728. Right? 12 cube is 1728, and this number is nothing but 13 cube, right? So you are having a number 13 here, 5 here, 3 here, 8 here. Now you know that it is a division, so 8 will go in the numerator if you simplify it. Now the only thing is that once you get this, you need not to simplify, right? Because you are not going to be given a Nobel Prize for doing the exact calculation. Because once you identify that this 8 will go to the numerator and all other numbers are prime numbers, 3, 5, 13, they are not going to cancel out any other number. So 8 into 5 product will end up in a 0. So if it is going to end up in a 0, only one answer contains 0 in the end. That has to be correct, right? Happily mark it. There is no need that you multiply 13 times 8 times 5 by 3. Okay, you are not going to get anything. Don't do that. Just simply a numerator will be having a 0. That is a clear differentiator. Mark it. Getting my point or not? Even the other thing is that you look at the denominator. In denominator only 3 will be left. And the only one option contains 3 in the denominator. Look how SSC helps you in, that you can get the answer so easily. 3 will be coming in the denominator. Only one option contains that, and that becomes right. Alright, thank you all. The part 1 is over. Thank you everyone for watching.